Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models of Transport. And now at long last, I last worked on this Bedford ML on Sunday when I recorded the last video, the one that was published yesterday. I'm actually getting round to fitting the exhaust pipe because this beginning of this week, this half week, because we've got a long weekend here in Italy, and so practically as from tomorrow it's holidays, sort of holidays. Well, I'm working a couple of lessons on Friday afternoon, but we're sort of in a holiday mood until next Monday. Schools are closed, etc. And finally, let's say Monday, Tuesday, partially even today, were a bit hectic and tiring, and so it's good that we have some break. So finally, I'm here and I'm going to fit the exhaust pipe. So let's put a spot of glue and glaze on this card. Yes. Yes, I do speak with a heavier accent. I'm not speaking with my heaviest Scottish accent when I'm talking on video, because I would like everybody to understand what I'm saying, but it's anyway much closer to what I speak at home, while my professional accent is more this one here, so it's a little bit clearer, okay. Anyway, I'm relaxing, so when I'm relaxing, I speak more normal. Okay, very well. So let's put the patient on the operating table. This piece of foam and a rubber. Now we have to fit the exhaust pipe. Will sort of be fitted slightly to the interior of this chassis member here, more or less up to here, and it'll sort of disappear here into the bonnet, sort of glue onto the side of the engine block. You can see that I have added an engine block here. I don't know what you can see. I'll see if I add a little bit of light, you can see that there is a black engine block in there. It wasn't part of the original model. I made that with a little bit of balsa wood coated in black heat shrink and glued on with, yet again, glue and glaze. So that was a bit of my trimmings that I recycled. And so we have to make the exhaust pipe sort of disappear in there. Okay, so let's take this put this electronic light off and go back to my vision-friendly 40-watt bulb. Okay, so here's the exhaust pipe, painted a kind of nondescript matte, slightly metallic grey. So it's quite a recent exhaust pipe. Not like the one in my Fiat Regatta. The silencer has got a great big hole in it, and it makes a nice, very nice roaring sound at the moment, but we're going to have to get that changed. I have to fish out my Haynes manual. I could make a video about the Haynes manuals. What do you say? Any interest in having a look and talking about cars, looking at the Haynes manuals? I have the Haynes manuals of all the cars I've had. Not I've had very many, but generally they're always the same. So I've had 2 Fiat Regattas, 2 Fiat Unos, and a Fiat 238 van. I never had the Haynes manual of that because it wasn't exported to the UK, because it was impossible to make a right-hand drive version. Because we could talk about the Fiat 238 van, we can dedicate a video to it. A water-soluble affair. Okay, so more or less, let's sort of need a pair of tweezers. Tweezers, where are the tweezers? Where's my tweezers? I've got enlarging specs on, I'll never find them. Here they are. Jingle jangle, here's the tweezers. So we have to get the exhaust pipe and sort of plonk it in here like that, sort of like so. Then these Bedfords, they come in various lengths. The lengths of the exhaust pipes are never really super precise. So I'm just going to glue it on with a silencer here and glue it on like that. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to put some glue on, some glue and glaze right on this side over here. Like that. On the side of the pipe. And on the, now get it on my fingers, of course. Okay. And then we'll stick some on here like that, so that it sort of glues itself onto the side of the engine block. Having, oh, I'm daft. I had to put it on the other side. We put it on both sides, it doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter because it disappears inside the engine, so who cares? Righto, let's see if we're lucky. I'll have to hold that lorry in our hands. Okay. It's on. That's on, more or less. Let's try and not get glue on the blinking thing. Right. It's on, but it's not on well. Toothpick. Toothpicks, which are all coated in glue and glaze, dirty things. I mean, you don't really need to make a super complicated thing out of this, but you see, it's gone too far down. Now I want to raise it a little bit. I want it to stay a bit higher up. I want it to be more visible, so I'm just going to encourage it to stay up a bit like that, so that we can see the thing, you see. That's quite nice. I'd say that's quite good. Let's see it sideways. See if we can make it stick out, be a bit more prominent. Stay out a wee bit more, my pal. Come on, mister. It's good because it doesn't look super regular. It looks a bit battered as well, you know, like a silencer on a lorry, it might have got a dent or a dent or something. It's not bad at all. That's quite nice. See if you can see it well with the light. There we go. Let's look with an electronic LED torch. We can see it quite nicely, like that. Sort of sticking out underneath. And there's the exhaust pipe. And there it is under there. Glue and glaze all set. And we can touch up. Apart from the fact that the chassis is painted gloss, so it doesn't really matter. The glue and glaze will leave a kind of glossiness. So we don't really need to worry about the fact of it looking maybe a wee bit glue and glaze under there, who cares. In fact, here at the back, you can see here I have to touch up the black there on the number plate holder, because that's what I glued it on using a mix of Tamiya cement and glue and glaze, and also reinforced it. The parts where I reinforced it with glue and glaze are invisible because glue and glaze is transparent and glossy, and the chassis is glossy. So that's actually quite good. I'm rather pleased about that. So I'm going to leave it, let it set. I think that's already glued. That's set. I think we don't even need to worry about that anymore. Seems to have caught quite well. Don't think it's going to fall off. So we don't even need to leave the lorry upside down. We're going to put it back on its. And now, having glued the exhaust pipe on, I can see that this model is complete. Meaning the exhaust pipe is not part of the original. I added this. I'm planning to make the metal hoops that support the spare wheel. I'll make them out of the same 0.45mm wire to just make it look a little bit more complete. And they'll also go on with glue and glaze. I have to measure them, and then I have to, but these are really things that we can do. Then another thing I want to fit, I've been thinking, is a wiper blade. And I'm going to fit the wiper blade only on the driver's screen. And it's interesting to see, you see that the driver's screen, if we look at it carefully in the light, it sticks out a little bit more, right, than the passenger screen. That is not really, I didn't really do that, you know, set out to obtain this result. It was by pure chance and luck. In the real lorries, the driver's screen is hinged, and it can open up. On the British Bedford MLs and O's, etc. The windscreen can be opened to increase ventilation and increase demisting, meaning you open a window, cold air comes in, and your window doesn't no longer mist it up. So when you look at the real lorry, you see that windscreen might be a little bit more sticking out compared to the flush-fitted, rubber-mounted passenger screen on the left of the vehicle. And we've obtained this by pure chance, so I'm lucky. It's also been, this has not been a, I was saying in the previous comment with Kristake, it wasn't easy, it was badly executed, a good, well-designed model, but badly made because nothing fits. But the good thing is that it really stimulates the modeler. This is a model that really makes you, even if you're building a kit, you're actually creating. It's a bit like building a kit, but scratch building at the same time, because there are so many different things and different skills that you've maybe acquired in time, or that it forces you to acquire. You have to really use your brain to do this, to make this model here. It's very, very stimulating. I'm very pleased. It was a very interesting project. And the result is nice. I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. So the idea is to make a little wiper here to fit it on. Of course, I've not got access to, how do you call them? That metal etched. I don't have access to etched wipers. And if I use 0.45 styrene, which is actually the thickness of the exhaust pipe, it would be a very thick wiper blade. So I'm thinking maybe to use a tiny piece of copper wire taken out of a electricity wire, and then just cut it, a tiny spot of glue and glaze up here, and sort of position it on the windscreen. And that would actually make our, because I've never really tried this technique of electricity wire, strand of copper wire to make wipers. On the models, for example, on the rail car, on the rail bus I built, I just drew them with a glass marker pen. So there we go. That's exhaust on. I'm rather quite nice. It's okay. So this lorry is going to be ready for the 00 version of the small layout, Chapelon Crossty, whatever we're going to call it in English. I've not made up my mind on that yet. And tomorrow it'll be out, so we'll actually be seeing some trains running at last, because I'm really craving for a train session, and I've got some train work to do, so we'll be seeing maintenance jobs on locomotives and things, and the rail car. We've got quite a lot of work to do together. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, you can give it a like. I suppose if you don't like it, you just don't say anything, or you can even say you don't like it, or whatever. Suit yourselves. And click the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, that's very useful. And I like to read your comments more than anything else. I like to read your comments. I do this I do something every day, or nearly every day, and I just enjoy doing it. I just like making models, and if I can share ideas, and I've also received lots of useful tips from all of you, it's just fun. I just do it for fun, and that's it. So cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao ciao.